The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Troopers say Jaden was allegedly last seen on Tuesday, August 5th around 9 p.m. wearing blue Sonic the Hedgehog PJs.
She talked to 911 and she said to them that my child is missing.
The remains of Jaden Spicer were discovered buried at the scene. Jaden's mother, Felicia Gross, 33, of Jackson, was taken into custody and transported to Kentucky River Regional Jail.
Jaden is now in good hands, and we're going to take care of him.
The week-long search for missing 10-year-old Jaden Spicer has come to a tragic end. His body found buried in the woods and his mother now charged. Justice for Jaden. A Kentucky senator is joining us live to talk about the public outcry from the case. And also this hour, will defendant Nicholas Kassotis take the stand? Well, the state is expected to rest its case this morning in the dismembered wife murder trial. And we're looking ahead to Mama Donna's upcoming trial. Could it change of venue still happen? One of America's favorite judges joins us live this morning to weigh in. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Wednesday morning to you and welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. So this is the show where we get you all warmed up and ready to go for the big day ahead on Court TV Live. And what a big day it is going to be. And we've got a big show planned to get it started. Grab that cup of coffee right now. It's time for my opening statement. Oh, too bad, so sad. Creepy Coberger is being tormented by his fellow inmates. Oh, sorry. Not sorry. According to reporting by the Daily Mail, the other inmates are relentlessly yelling things at him in his cell through the vents, all hours of the night, so much so, the Daily Mail reports that Coberger complained about it to the prison guards. He says it's nonstop and he can't sleep because of it. Well, to that I say good. Good job, guys. Bravo. Keep it up. Now maybe he'll learn how it feels to lose sleep, just like the loved ones of his victims. I say instead of complaining about those inmates, that loser psychopath should thank them for not doing worse to him. Maybe the sleep deprivation is a warm-up for what's coming next. I have no idea. But what I do know is that Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin experienced far worse than lost sleep. You know, they are the people that everybody cares about. People around the world care about them, not the evil creep who preyed upon them. And you know, karma, my friends, karma has a funny way of taking care of business, doesn't it? And so do prison inmates. The tables have turned. The predator is now the prey. And I hope that everyone declines to help him, just like he declined to apologize for what he did. That's my opening statement. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
She had stated that he had owed her some money, that she actually financed wedding rings into her name, and that he still had the ring that she had purchased for him. And at that time, that's when she did disclose to us that she had been raped by him.
In Utah, we've got the state's case continuing in the fugitive sex offender trial for defendant Nicholas Rossi. Court's going to get underway at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. In Georgia, we've got a brand new trial starting up for you. Defendant Christopher Wolfenbarger is accused in the cold case murder of his wife, Melissa, who was the daughter of a convicted serial killer. Opening statements are going to start up at 9 a.m. Eastern. And also in Georgia, the dismembered wife murder trial resumes this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. The state is expected to rest. Now, that could happen in our next hour of programming. So the big question is going to be whether Nicholas Cassanis is going to take the stand. The former JAG officer is accused of killing and dismembering his second wife, Mindy. State's case included testimony from 2 of his ex-wives and Mindy's family and her friends. So will he talk now? He talked a lot in the interview room, and we saw a different side to him.
Sir, not going to.
Thank you, Arlen. And now's the time to stop living all this.
Here's the deal. There's a reason that Mindy died. Yes. Okay. But I don't you know this. You know very well that reason. Because you killed her. I did not. The big question is why. Sir, I would never have killed Mindy. I woke up in the morning and I took care of her. I rubbed her back. I rubbed her leg. And she wasn't pregnant. Is she? Sir, she was due in January.
But she was not pregnant.
She was not pregnant.
So what do you think? Should this defendant get up there and tell his story? Let's talk about it. I've got 2 outstanding guests ready to discuss this with me. Let's bring them in now. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Franz Borghardt is here, and Sheriff Chris Campanelli, the sheriff in Erie County, Pennsylvania, joins us as well. Good morning to you, gentlemen. All right, Franz, talking to you as the lawyer that you are, is this a good idea for this guy to testify?
I'm going to go with no, it's not a good idea. And absolutely, he's going to testify because he won't be able to help himself. But, you know, Julie, it's like the song lyric. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. And, you know, is it going to get worse for him? Probably if he testified. But this guy can't help but run his mouth. He's the smartest guy in the room. He's a lawyer. That's not an indictment on lawyers, by the way, Julie. I'm just saying. Lawyers who are defendants generally cannot help themselves. So I'm predicting that he's going to testify and it's going to go south like the Titanic pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you there, Franz. Those interviews were so bad. Sheriff Campanelli, this is what I want to talk to you about. Him in that room talking to those investigators. I said the other day on the program, and I stand by it, it's like even his lies have lies. There were so many lies that this guy told. I've got a clip for you, Sheriff. I'll come to you on the other side. Let's watch.
Your elaborate 2 hours of story that you gave in Pennsylvania, you know how many items, you've been an attorney, you should realize how many of those can be disproven. Sir, I have not lied to you at all.
You've been living the lies for a long time.
Yes.
Between your finances, between Jim McIntyre, all these people, the Microsoft stuff.
I think Jim has lied to me for a long time. I do believe that.
I don't believe Jim exists.
Sir, Jim absolutely exists. I don't know if that's his real name, but he absolutely exists.
Sheriff Campanelli, you've seen a lot of characters in your career. What do you think of this character we have here?
He definitely seems, he's got the attorney flow with him. He's going to try to baffle these people with the BS. And I think in his own mind, he thinks that's his only way out. And I agree with Franz. He is definitely going to testify. He cannot help himself.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna say we're 3 for 3 here. We agree. I think he's getting up there. I think he thinks he's smarter than everybody. I think he thinks he's got everybody fooled. This crazy Jim McIntyre story. I feel so sorry for all of his wives. Of course, Mindy the most because she's deceased, and then his other 2 wives who have been witnesses. We've got a clip from his first wife, Heather. Listen to the money she's talking about here. This guy claims to have. Let's watch.
Was very upset after he heard Nick testify under oath that he not only had the money, he had more than enough of the money, and that he just was refusing to pay it. So the judge was not very kind.
He admitted having how much money?
$32 million.
And did he tell the court he was having difficulty accessing that money?
Yes.
What did he tell the court?
He told the court that his wife, his current wife, Mindy, was holding his funds and that he thought that she had a claim to it.
Oh my, she goes on to testify this guy created fake bank records as well. Franz Borghardt, I would imagine the prosecutors are going to have a field day with him if he gets up there. You've been a prosecutor. Tell us what you envision the cross to look like if he testifies.
So the problem with testifying to explain your lies is that you have to concede that you lied at some point. And or else you're put in a position where you're, well, I lied about this, but I'm not lying about murdering her. And the problem is he's not lovable. He's not a likable defendant, right? And I don't mean that any other way than if you watch his video, he doesn't come across as somebody that you could like and be sympathetic to if you're a juror. So if he gets up there, the cross is going to be a truly hard cross, I think, and it's going to be adversarial. And the problem is with the guy in the room that thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, generally he sounds pretty dumb.
I agree. This Jim McIntyre story is something else. I just can't with this guy. Sheriff, what do you make of this? What do you think is behind this story? I call him his imaginary friend, Jim McIntyre, who he keeps saying worked for the FBI, was controlling his movements, telling him he had to go on the run, all this, and he never reported it.
Well, obviously he's trying to pull the wool over people's eyes and using any avenue that he can possibly use. And obviously creating these fictitious characters, he believes that someone else is going to believe that he's working with them in some fashion. Obviously, he does believe he's the smartest guy in the room, obviously is not.
Mm-hmm. Right, Sheriff. Tell me, how dangerous, Sheriff, do you think this guy is? You know, we know he served in our military. We know he's an attorney. But, you know, he may look normal. You know, we know Ted Bundy looked normal, too. Give us the danger assessment on this guy, Sheriff, if you would, please.
Absolutely. Never judge a book by its cover. You can never tell what somebody is by what they look like. But he's definitely a dangerous individual. If even someone that would contemplate this type of crime, there has to be something completely wrong with this man mentally. If he would do that to his own wife, what would he do to anybody else walking down the street? I mean, this guy needs to get put away for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you, Sheriff. Amen. Franz, let me ask you, please. Let's say you're counsel for this guy. How would you be advising him this morning as they're getting ready, just like we're getting ready for Court TV Live, they're prepping to go into the courtroom? How would you advise him for today when the judge, we know, is going to ask him that important decision about testifying?
So it's important to remember that representing attorneys in the criminal justice system is difficult. It's not always difficult, Julie, but it's often difficult because they want to be co-counsel. So I think what I would be doing is I would be trying to explain to him the reasons why he should not. And I would be encouraging him to really consider what he's doing before he does it. Now, what I would also do is I would do a little bit of what I call good old-fashioned CYA, which is before he is having the colloquy with the judge, I'm going to put on the record that I've advised him of his rights, I've advised him of his constitutional rights, and then I'm going to say, and I've advised that he should not testify. It's against my advice and counsel. So that at least later, when it goes south, he can't come back to and say, oh no, Franz didn't tell me I shouldn't testify. But, you know, smartest guys in the room generally are the quickest to be convicted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you. And I love what you said. That was really smart thinking on your part to want to put something on the record like that, because he would be the kind of guy, you know, you've seen him before, Franz, that type who would try to claim ineffective assistance of counsel and try to rewrite the story. So yes, good thinking. And speaking of cases and records, Franz, you've got cases to win. We've got to let you go to court. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. We'll see you next week. And Sheriff Campanelli is coming with us. Do the same at home, please. Here's what's next on Opening Statements.
I saw a lady was knocking my door, and she was just crying, and she said, "Can I use your phone?" And I said, "Yes." So I gave my phone to her, and I dialed the number, and she talked to 911, and she said to them that my child is missing.
Yeah, 10-year-old Jaden Spicer's mom was urging the public for help. Well, now that her son has been found dead, she has been charged. And will Donna Adelson's trial wind up in a different place? We're talking about the motion for change of venue, and we're doing it with one of America's favorite judges.
The Court TV podcast will return.
And then kind of walk me through, too, because you left and went to work after that. She called 911, and
then I wasn't here. My helper was pulling here. And then I waited a few minutes, and then the 911 crew came. So after that, I left. And then I came back home. I saw those crews still searching for him.
This is just awful. A nearly week-long search for missing 10-year-old boy in Kentucky ends with the discovery of his buried body. Now his mother is charged in his death. This is Jaden Spicer. He was last seen in Jackson, Kentucky, which is over an hour away from Lexington. Police say his remains were found buried in a heavily wooded area not far from where he went missing. Tuesday, after his body was discovered, officials quickly shifted their focus to a criminal investigation.
This incident has now transitioned from a missing person investigation into an active and ongoing criminal investigation. With that, we must advise that specific details regarding this investigation cannot be released at this time. It is our top priority to protect the integrity of this investigation and seek justice for Jaden.
I think I speak for an entire community when I say that we are devastated and collectively broken over this. I would like to assure the public that now, thanks to these guys, Jaden is now in good hands, and we're going to take care of him. Thank you.
Jaden's mother, Felicia Gross, is facing multiple charges, including second-degree manslaughter in connection to the 10-year-old's death. We're asking this morning, what other outstanding questions do you have about the way Jaden Spicer's disappearance and death occurred? Let's bring in our power panel now. Still with me, the sheriff in Erie County, Pennsylvania, Chris Campanelli, and retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. Great to have you both on this. Agent Coffindaffer, let me begin with you here, please. What outstanding questions do you have about this child's death and disappearance, please?
Well, of course, we want to hear the manner and causation, exactly what happened to that child. And believe me, that autopsy is going to tell us a lot of information whenever those results come back. You know, he was taken 18.5 miles, and recall that mutilation of a corpse has also been charged. What did she do to his body after he died? These are questions that just jump to mind.
Yeah, most definitely, Jennifer. Sheriff Campanelli, let me ask you the same question. What sticks out in your mind the most when it comes to the unanswered questions about this case?
First of all, I think our hearts go out to the family of this child. It's a horrific event. I would like to find out and ask her what could cause her to act in such a way and to do such a thing to a child, and her own child at that. It's just unfathomable to me.
It really is, Sheriff. You know, when we think about this search, first it was, oh, my child went missing, and it was late at night, and he's in his pajamas, and she's begging people for help. And then we find the child buried in this shallow grave, and then suddenly, you know, the cuffs are on mom, and it's a big shift from the way America was looking at mom and now how they're looking at things this morning. She's 33 years old, and apparently there's a handwritten note that we have. I want to put it up on your screen here now. Let's take a look. So she's talking about loving her child, wanting him to be home safe. Report this if you know anything, blah, 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 blah. What is this? What is this exactly that we're looking at here? Agent Coffindaffer, what do you make of this attempt by mom here?
Well, I see it as sort of a rambling consciousness where she wants to put something to paper, where she can say she loves him, absolutely self-serving. How many cases have we seen like this? It reminds me a little bit of Susan Smith. We see so many cases right now of missing, like Sebastian Rogers with similar type stories, Summer Wells, Jill and Lily Sullivan. You look at those cases and wow, such similarities, but yet in this case, because a body has been found, we're going to have, a culmination and adjudication.
Sheriff, looking at that note, I want to ask you the same thing. What do you see when you read this note written by mom? We know now she's the accused, hasn't been convicted, just accused at this point, cloaked in the presumption of innocence. What do you think she's angling to do with that note?
I mean, obviously, from my perspective, it looks like she's deflecting suspicion off of herself is what she's trying to do. She wants authorities to believe that she's this loving mother. Obviously, they have some type of evidence against her, so we'll have to see what happens.
Yes. Let's talk about more of what we know about this woman. Felicia Gross is her name. She's 33. Her charges right now, this morning, these could always be amended, but as of right now, it's second-degree manslaughter, abuse of a corpse, tampering with evidence, and falsely reporting an incident. According to the Lexington Herald Leader, court records show involvement with Child Protective Services in the past. A woman named Felicia Spicer, same age, has a conviction for a misdemeanor charge of endangering the welfare of a minor that dates back to 2015. Sounds like the same person to me. That they're talking about, just different last name. We know his last name is Spicer, so I think putting two and two together, we can see perhaps a pattern here. Oh, I don't know. Agent Coffendeffer, what do you think? We're wondering this morning, is mom here going to be the only person charged? Should she be? Do you suspect anyone else may have allegedly been involved here?
Well, what I find interesting, Julie, is that it's second-degree manslaughter, right? Which indicates that there was no intent to particularly harm, but your negligence or recklessness caused his death. So I find that very interesting. Was this something that was truly accidental, like some sort of overdose of some nature or something like that, and was not particularly intended? But then you look at the past, and you look at those charges. Listen, people who have the ability to abuse a child, I mean, that's as bad as it gets, Julie, and they can continue doing that in the future without any hesitation, unfortunately.
Right, Jennifer. I love what you said, and I'm in agreement with you. This is telling us something. They've charged manslaughter, not murder, for some reason. We don't know why yet, and as you pointed out, Jennifer, could it be that something terrible, albeit, accidental, but terribly negligent, horrific, maybe drugs? That's what popped into my mind. Sheriff, I'm wondering, I mean, fentanyl exposure, I'm sure you see a lot of that where you are in cases that you have. What are your thoughts when you saw manslaughter, not murder, charged here?
Honestly, I was very surprised as well. And like we were saying, someone that has abused a child in the past, the past is the biggest predictor of the future. So we'll have to wait and see what the evidence provides. But I can foresee in the future there may be a change in that charge.
That's another great point too, Sheriff. It may be amended. Maybe it becomes murder. Again, we don't know the circumstances. We're just putting forth some educated guesses based on what we know and mom's history here, which is not good. It was a grandmother who had been taking care of little Jaden, and she recently passed away, and then he was put back into the custody of his mom, and sadly didn't make it out alive. Jennifer Coffendeffer, does this story make you think of the Sebastian Rogers case?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, such similar situation, right? Prior CPS, walked out of his house in the middle of the night, although there's no camera footage of anyone leaving in the middle of the night, never seen again. It's so similar to that case in terms of the facts that we have at hand anyway. So yes, definitely so.
Yeah, I had a feeling you might say that as you followed that one from the outset, like this one, and that's what I just keep thinking of. It just reminds me so much of the pajamas, late at night. It just, with mom, yeah, it's just incredibly upsetting. We still don't have answers with that one. We'll leave it here for just a moment. I have to say goodbye and a big thank you to you both for the great analysis. Special Agent Jennifer Coffendeffer, Sheriff Chris Campanelli, thank you both kindly. We're going to continue our coverage about the Jaden Spicer case in just a moment. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we're spotlighting the public outcry A lot of people upset about what happened to that little boy, and we've got a Kentucky state senator joining us on the program live next.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. This morning, we're continuing spotlighting the case of Jaden Spicer, specifically the public outcry for justice for him. The 10-year-old's body was found Tuesday buried in a heavily wooded area not far from where he went missing. His mother, Felicia Gross, is facing multiple charges, including second-degree manslaughter in connection to her son's death. The prosecuting attorney addressed the public response to this case while assuring justice for Jaden.
I'd like to take a moment to extend my condolences to the people who loved and cared about Jaden. While this is not the outcome that we had hoped for, we certainly are grateful that we were able to bring him out of the woods today. I'm sorry, guys, this is hard. Finally, I'd just like to say that the outpouring of love and support as a result of this has been absolutely remarkable. And it appears that there are people all over the world that love and care for this baby. Because of that, I would like to assure the public that now, thanks to these guys, Jaden is now in good hands.
Let's talk about this some more with Kentucky State Senator Brandon Smith. Brandon, good morning to you. I understand you joined in the search efforts to find this precious little boy. Tell us a little bit about that experience, if you would, please.
Well, I, like so many other people, had been following the story and had a lot of questions. I was curious early on why, like, an Amber Alert hadn't gone out, that with more information was not available. And so when they finally asked the public to start searching, that's exactly what I did. And I hopped on a bike that I've got, and that way I could cover a lot of ground and get back in rough area. And so I went straight to ground zero. And this is tough terrain, and you've got a lot of homes that are off the beaten path for a reason. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want you trespassing on their property. And so it's a difficult area to get into, and there's a lot of other issues that you need to be careful about when you're out doing one of these searches.
Sure. Senator, of course, this was not the result that anybody wanted. Would you tell us what the public sentiment has been like throughout this process, throughout all of the days where everybody was still hopeful, and now with this terrible news that we just received?
Well, hope and anger. A lot of the people were very hopeful that he would be found. I felt like that he would be found. I thought the whole time that I was searching that he was probably hiding. I felt like he, from just feedback I was getting, was probably in a very difficult situation at home, and that if he'd gotten away from them, that he was going to hide. And so having been an old Boy Scout leader myself, I felt like I knew some good places to look for him, but that he would maybe respond to me and come when I called his name. And I shared some videos of where I was searching for him, so people would know not to search those areas that had already been there. But also I wanted the camera on to make sure that that people knew I wasn't trespassing or nothing, or trying to get on their property illegally. And that's another part about it, is making sure when you're searching that you give people notice and let them know that you're there.
Smart, Senator. How about throughout the time period that you were there on the ground and saw other people also searching, did you ever happen to see this child's mom, Felicia Gross, around looking?
No, and I didn't. And I will tell you, I did not see other people out searching. And that could be because they'd already had been through there. I'm not sure. But I met an individual kind of right earlier in the day, right off the bat, that had some information that he had witnessed. And it was very alarming information. But what he shared with me was that he had seen a car come by his grandmother's house, and that he noticed it through the trees because there was a child in it screaming. Now, this is hard for me to share with you. And he said he noticed that car and saw it and where it was going. And then he just said something about it didn't set right. He went to sleep. He woke up the next morning. He saw where the child was missing. And then he reported the information and a description of the car that he heard. But in my had as a parent, just thinking about the child in the car screaming, it was just really difficult for me. And so he showed me an area. We went to the place where he saw the car, and I began literally searching every single road, path, driveway, home, well, garbage dumps, and the anxiety. And I don't know if they've shared some of the video with you all of lifting up some of those mattresses and going through the dump was really difficult for me to think that I'd see a little pair of pajamas there or something. It was really very, very difficult search.
Senator, do you know if this information from this man who witnessed something, we don't know exactly what, do you know if it had anything to do with Jaden Spicer's case? Did law enforcement tie it together? Was it him in that car?
I did not ask because the state police, their job's tough enough the way it is. He had told me that he had already made the authorities aware of it, so I assumed they were also on it. And I just took what he had and went with myself to go do it. But no, I've never found out if that was her car, if they ever identified the car. I do think they know who the owner of that car was, and it could have been a case where it was just a mistaken identity. It may not have been the case. It may not have been her car at all. That stuff I don't know. The state police will know that, and but that was information that I had from literally being, boots on the ground, being there, and so he gave me a good search grid. I know as a father with kids in the car that when they're screaming, I don't figure you're going to go very far, and if the child's really screaming, that I kept thinking that she may pull over, maybe have thrown him out, and it just gave me hope. I really was crushed by this when I got home yesterday and found out that they had found him and he was no longer with us, because up until that moment I was on the team that felt like this little guy was hiding and that we would find him.
I think we all hope that as well, Senator. There's a lot we don't know because the affidavit of probable cause is not public yet, so we'll look for that piece of information you shared. Perhaps it's tied in here, perhaps not. I'm curious if you know anything as to why law enforcement charged manslaughter rather than another homicide charge that may have been available or more appropriate under the circumstances. Do you know, Senator?
I don't, and I just like most people thinking about it, I assume that it's because she cooperated and did take them to his body, which I'm thankful for. This is something that she could have taken to her grave. We may have never found this baby. And it could be that there are other people involved, and maybe they're wanting to give her some room in order to, work with them if there were other people involved. But I'm not really sure. I know people are they're upset by it, they're outraged by it, and for good reason. But right now we just have to trust the process and let these professional men and women do their job.
Yes, it seems they're quite committed to justice for little Jaden, based on what we saw, in just the preliminary remarks with that press conference yesterday. Senator Brandon Smith, state senator in Kentucky, where this awful tragedy occurred. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, giving us the information you were able to, and every good wish as things move forward in Kentucky for everyone there as they continue healing from this awful death.
Thank you all for covering it.
Certainly. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention to the state of Florida. Here's what's ahead on opening statements.
I've gained more than a third of my body weight here. The diet is all carbs, no protein. I don't have any antibiotic cream, and I don't have a Band-Aid. Borrowing sanitary pads. She said, "You're going to buy me commissary. You don't snitch, you don't tell on anyone, because you'll be sorry you did."
Donna Adelson's trial begins next week. Can they pick an impartial jury? What do you think? Or should the trial be moved out of Tallahassee? One of America's favorite judges joins us next to weigh in. And a live look at the courtroom for you in Georgia, where the dismembered wife murder trial is about to pick back up. Big question, will the defendant testify?
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Now for what's tipping the scales of justice in the upcoming trial for Mama Donna Adelson. It's set to begin next week. We're wondering if a change of venue could still happen. So jury selection will begin on the 19th. And this is where Donna Adelson is accused in being part of the murder-for-hire plot to murder her former son-in-law, Dan Markell. Her defense team is requesting a change of venue, but the judge overseeing the trial has yet to rule on it. He says he wants to see just how the jury picking process goes before he makes any decision. In other words, let's try to get a jury, and then maybe we will think about a change of venue if we can't. The other thing we're waiting on is to find out whether Mama Donna will take the stand. Remember what her attorney said at that final pretrial hearing, though?
I know in the previous hearing last year, Your Honor questioned whether there was a difference between a Latin King gang member and simply a gang member. The answer is absolutely. In Miami, in South Florida, there is absolutely a difference between a gang member and a Latin King gang member.
Even with that being said, this ultimately goes to your client's state of mind and who is going to establish how she knows the difference between, forgive the pun, the garden variety gang member and a specific gang member.
I think between her testimony and anticipated testimony of Charlie Adelson.
Her testimony? Did he say her testimony? Is that a clue? A lot of things hanging in the balance. We've got a tremendous guest we want to bring in to talk about it all. Retired Judge Larry Seidlin famously presided over Anna Nicole Smith's body case. Good morning, Judge. Thanks for coming back on the program.
Good morning, Julie. Nice to be with you.
Oh, we're delighted to have you. It's always a great morning when we've got you joining us. So let's talk, please, if we can, about this change of venue motion. Judge Seidlin, what do you think about this trial judge delaying any ruling on this until he sees how the picking process goes?
Well, the Florida Supreme Court says, start the voir dire, start the questioning of the jury, and let's see where it goes. Or if there's so much prejudice out there, there's so much negative publicity, the judge can say, we're going to change venue. We're going to have this case tried in another part of the state. It reminds me of the Old West, where they have the murder trial right in the saloon, and they get the rope ready, and they get the rope ready quickly, so all the jury's going to have a drink after the trial. If I was sitting here as a judge in this case, I'd move this case out of Tallahassee. Tallahassee is a small town. It's about 300,000 people, whereas where I am in Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, there's 2 million. In Dade, there's over 3 million. It's just been so watched, this case. You have 2 million TikTok followers on Court TV following this case. So now we're going to interview the jury. We're going to have voir dire. And the jurors, do they all tell the truth? You say to them, have you heard about this case? Some may say yes, some may say no. So let's say they say yes. So you say to the juror, can you, what you've read or have seen, can you take that out of your mind and still give the defendant a fair trial? And of course, the juror wants to be in on this case. They want to be part of history. They want to be sitting in that trial. So they'll say, yes, I can remove what I've heard. I can remove what I've seen, and I can give this defendant a fair trial. It's a lot of hogwash. It's a lot of baloney, and it's not truthful. And sometimes I would sit in court, and the individual would put their hand in the Bible to tell the truth. I would say to myself, why are we wasting that time? Are they going to tell the truth? You know, what, are they telling the truth? Socrates, Plato said, what is the truth? Are we going to get to the truth? Do we have a truthful person on this earth? You got to move this case. You got to move it out of this town, Tallahassee. There was a moment when I was very close to the governor, and I knew if I went to the appellate court, I then could potentially get to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's in Tallahassee, and I said to myself, can I live in Tallahassee? It's got one good bar, very little activity. It's like 2 blocks long. Now, it has a terrific college here, Florida State, where the kids go for 4 years. but I'd have to be there for a long time. I said, there's no way I want to be in Tallahassee on an everyday basis. I don't want to listen to the birds singing and the ducks swimming. I got to be with his action. So I knew Tallahassee wasn't for me. Tallahassee's too small for this trial.
Too small
the
for this one.
population's been tainted. The jury pool's been poisoned.
Right. I think so many of our courties, I know, agree with you on this, Judge, when we think about it. And we all know the story. We've seen the trial go so many times, just with different defendants, as you know. Something else, you mentioned social media, Judge, about TikTok, and something that's been blowing up on Court TV. And anybody watching this program who wants to see what we're about to show you again, you can go to courttv.com, watch it as many times as you like. There's an old clip of Donna Adelson as a Wheel of Fortune contestant. And she's talking about what she does, her career, and wait till you see what the puzzle is, Judge. Let's watch.
We now meet Donna Adelson from Coral Springs, Florida. I want to hear all about you, Donna. Let's go.
Well, I'm a domestic coordinator.
A domestic coordinator?
Yes. I'm responsible for the activities, classes, and lessons of my son Robert, who is 16, Charlie, who is 12, Wendy, who is 10, my husband Harvey, who's in the audience, and my dog Sam.
Donna.
F.
Yes.
Mischief maker.
Yeah, that's it, Donna.
She solved the puzzle. Mischief maker was her puzzle. Judge, was that kind of fortuitous or ironic? It's got a lot of people talking, and her being a domestic coordinator, as she put it, sure does too, as she's now being accused of being a mastermind behind the murder plot to murder Danny Markell, that law professor at Florida State University. Tell me, Judge, should this lady testify? Should she get up there and try to help herself?
Well, that's a moving target, whether to have your client, the defendant, testify. The defense attorney has to see how the case is going, evaluate it all. We've had 3 trials already in Tallahassee, so the judge can say, well, we've had 3 trials. We were able to pick an impartial jury. I believe the jury is already tainted. Should she testify? You have to wait and see how the evidence unfolds. You have to wait. And I try cases now. I've been off the bench about 18 years ago was Anna Nicole's case. And Anna Nicole's case, look at the publicity. It was one of the most viewed trials in the history of the United States. But I was the judge. It was only a judge trial. So I couldn't get bombarded with bias and prejudice because I'm accustomed to all that controversy.
Right.
But this is a jury that can easily be swayed. We got to wait to see with Donna.
Wait and see.
Yeah, we got to wait to see what goes on with Donna, how the case unfolds. Her son already has been convicted, and they picked local counsel this time. They picked local lawyers.
Forgive me for interrupting you. We're out of time. We have 10 seconds left. Would you please come back and talk with us some more about this case?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you, Judge. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.